Hi, I'm Marta Benavides. It's time for Socialife. We appreciate your company ahead on this edition of Socialife, leading in difficult times. We are sitting down with Pharr Mayor Ambrosio Hernandez to discuss the challenges COVID-19 has presented. We hear his thoughts on the state of our economy and our health. Identifying the needs of children who have fallen victim to abuse. We are getting to know the Children's Advocacy Center. Plus, shaking things up with a refreshing drink from the Republic of the Rio Grande. We'll be right back with more Socialife.
Need help after COVID-19? Get support and answers on financial assistance, utility hardship assistance, state and federal funding, workplace safety planning, and more. Free for Pharr residents and business owners only. Call 402-4311 to set up your appointment today.
You know, the challenge that we face with COVID-19 is really our mindset. And do we have a development mindset? And a development mindset recognizes that we're going to go through pain. You talk to elite athletes, and they talk about going through the pain of getting faster and stronger and quicker. And that's really what we're experiencing now. We can deal with the pain, but where we really have a choice is our mindset when it comes to making ourselves miserable. And so with pain, we can work through, but with the mindset, we have a choice in terms of being miserable or being happy. And so what I really talk to people about is, what's your mindset? Work through the pain and see the pain as an opportunity to grow. Remember, a plane doesn't take off unless it's flying into the headwind. But you do have a choice about whether you're going to be miserable. And so make those choices to look at things as opportunities, as opposed to, I am really miserable because of COVID-19 and self-isolating and not being able to interact with people. But it's really up to us in terms of what our mindset is.
Thank you so much, Mr. Steve Ahlenius, for that uplifting message. Right now, leadership is so important, and communities across the country are counting on it to help get us through this pandemic. We wanted to invite our friend and the great leader of the city of Pharr, Mayor Ambrosio Hernandez, to the show to talk about the challenges he's been facing and how to help move his community forward. Welcome, Mayor. Thank you so much for your time, for joining us today. How are you doing?
We're doing good. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's a great day to be here. It's a wonderful sunny day, and we are eager to have the discussion with you and your organization. And just a message to everybody, please remember to stay hydrated at these times. People forget to drink, so don't forget your water.
I absolutely love that mug you're holding in your hand. I have one that resembles it. It resembles it a little bit, and I can't wait to toast with you once again. Again, we appreciate your time, Mayor. You were one of the city leaders who responded so quickly and aggressively when we heard back in March about the coronavirus. And, you know, when we learned it was in our community, it was a potential threat, you acted very quickly and established a COVID center. Tell me how those efforts have been going and why that was so important to you so early on.
Sure. Well, thank you for the question. Yes, we immediately took a couple of action items. Number one, we made sure people knew in the city of Pharr that this was a serious matter for the community, including the city of Pharr, but the entire Rio Grande Valley. We made sure people understood in our city commission meeting that we were going to be very likely going to a lockdown in the city of Pharr, and we did start the recovery center at the Pharr Event Center. And its goal is very simple. We know people need education. Nobody, including myself, has been in a pandemic in a lifetime. We knew they needed monetary assistance, education as well, where to get these resources, not only for utilities, but where do you get tested? What does this disease mean? Economic help for the business community as well, where they can get some food at the food bank or even the city of Pharr handling it. So we wanted a one-stop shop to make it easier for the population as a whole to handle.
How do we slow the spread, and how do we keep our economy healthy?
Sure. Well, as we all know, we have to slow the spread. Nobody's going to cure it overnight. It's going to spread naturally, organically. That's what all viruses do in our community. All we're really asking the population to do is realize that if we do not wear our masks, if we do not wash our hands, keep countertops, anything that we touch clean, if we don't maintain our social distancing so we don't contaminate each other, we're going to speed up the rate that it spreads. And that's fine, because everybody needs to be inoculated sooner or later to build immunity. We understand that. But we just don't want everybody rushing at once with symptoms that need medical attention to our facilities. So if it's okay for 10 to 20 people show up in the ER, it's not okay when hundreds show up and then we cannot treat you effectively the way you're intended to be treated in the United States. So we really need to be cognitive and be aware that nobody's pushing against your civil rights. We all are Americans, but we're also Americans as a community. And we need to come together and say, you know what, it is my responsibility to take care of you, my neighbor, my grandparents, my parents, my friends. I may not like a mask. I'll be the first to tell you, I wear them every day. But I know if I do my part, I'm helping somebody else out as well. So if we all just keep that in mind, we can certainly get a handle on the situation.
It's a collective effort.
It is.
You're in a very unique position, Mayor, because for the few who might be tuning in that may not be aware, you wear two hats. You're not just a city leader. You're a very respected physician here in our community. You are a pediatric surgeon. That's your specialty.
Right.
If we could lean into your expertise, and you talked a little bit about it right now, are you concerned this situation could overwhelm our healthcare system?
I am, because as most people are fully aware of now, we have a pandemic, but it doesn't seem to mean the same thing to everybody. And all we're saying is, look, guys, there is a flu-like illness out there. Flu spreads pretty fast, pretty quick among the ranks, but it has some unique abilities. It tends to hit the elderly a lot harder, and what we mean by that is it tends to kill you. And so we're having mortality rates that we did not anticipate in having. We're having our hospital systems, our clinics, inundated with rush of people coming with fear of the illness, but also with true symptoms. And they really are having a hard time breathing or dehydrated or aches, and they need attention. But if we all show up at once, you will overwhelm the system anywhere in the world, just like you saw in Italy, saw in China, and other places. And that's what we're trying to prevent. So if we as healthcare providers do our part with elected officials, let's spread the message. Everybody has a right to live, and everybody has the right to prosperity. But we also have a responsibility for each other to take care of each other, and let's get control of this pandemic by just slowing it down. Don't let it become a wildfire. Let's control it. Let's control chaos. Wear your mask, social distancing, and clean.
Definitely some good advice there, Mayor. Did we open too soon, Mayor? Do you think that we gave our people here in this area a false sense of security by opening back up for business early on? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I think you have to go with the data that's available to you that time. So we're not going to Monday morning quarterback. What we're going to do, we learn. So at the time Governor Abbott opened up the economy, it appeared that we had things plateaued. We had things under control. Obviously, it's easy to get Monday morning quarterback, but at the time, the data we were given, it appeared that we could successfully open up in a staged manner the economy, and not only in the Rio Grande Valley, but the state. But obviously we were wrong as a community, and it's getting out of control. And now we need to take a deep breath and look at the data and put our feelings aside. This is not an emotional situation. You have to deal with data. And if the data says the spread is too rampant, people aren't listening, then you're going to have to ratchet back down for their own health.
Moving forward, what is your message of hope?
Well, I think everybody needs to understand that it's not doom and gloom. Our better days are in front of us. We do have some tough times coming. We do have some sacrifices that are going to have to be undertaken. We are limited in resources, make no mistake. We are in a fight for our lives. That is the truth, we are. But we also have good partners. We have Congress with the CARES Act pushing through resources for the entire communities. We have also the governor pushing resources through and up to the county as well and through the cities. Everybody's pulling together. You have the private sector pushing so hard in the health system to allocate resources for more beds, more nurses, emergency management all over the nation reacting by giving supplies, ventilators, medication. So everybody seems to be coming together for the betterment of our communities. And again, don't lose hope. Our better days are truly in front of us, but it can only be achieved if we all row in the same direction and do what's best for yourself, for your family, and your neighbors.
Thank you so much. I couldn't have put it in any better way. And I think that is certainly deserving of a toast, because it's about everybody making contributions to get to that other side. And we thank you so much for serving as a wonderful city leader and obviously an expert in the healthcare industry as well. We thank you for the work that you do, for the double duty. Dr. Mayor.
It's my pleasure, absolutely.
Salud.
Salud.
And we wish you and your family all the best. Thank you so much, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am.
Coming up, giving young victims hope. We're going to talk to the Children's Advocacy Center when we come back.
At North Park Lexus RGV, we embrace posted pricing. It's our approach to transparent pricing and making what the car buying experience is supposed to be, fun. We value the guest experience. Whether you're looking at a brand new Lexus or a pre-owned vehicle, we invite you out to see what it's all about. Visit us in person or online at nplexusrgv.com. Come see what posted pricing is all about.
When you bank with Lone Star National Bank, you're actually investing in your community. You see, our customers have made us one of the largest community banks in Texas, which means we don't ship your money to New York. Instead, we invest in our community. We invest in your future and in thousands of small businesses.
Together,
we do what the little banks can't and the big banks won't. Lone Star National Bank, the Valley's bank.
there is a magic to this valley and to this university. We are champions in the arena, in the halls, and in our communities. The Valley's pride. The Valley's future. The Valley's University.
Ending the cycle of abuse. It is the community that the Children's Advocacy Center works so hard to represent. And today we want to welcome our friend, Mr. Jesus Sanchez. He is the Executive Director for the Children's Advocacy Center of Hidalgo and Starr counties. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sanchez. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Ms. Benavides. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
The pleasure is all ours, and we're excited to learn more on how you serve the youngest victims of abuse here in our community and how, as a community, we can help support you, Mr. Sanchez.
Absolutely. I think first what I would like to start by saying that the Children's Advocacy Center provides that, as you mentioned, services to victims ages 2 to 17 in Hidalgo and Starr counties. We are actually the first stop when children and families enter the justice system because of sexual abuse, severe physical abuse, or because someone has witnessed a crime. We work with law enforcement, child protective services, and the district attorney's office, and we facilitate the intervention, prosecution, and investigation of child abuse cases. The services that we provide are forensic medical evaluations, forensic interviews, mental health services, as well as victim support.
You've been doing this for 20 years, Mr. Sanchez, and right now we're going through some very difficult times. Have you seen cases, these incidents going up here across the valley?
Well, it's very interesting that you asked that question. it actually, the number of cases that we have seen has decreased minimally. What has increased has been the severity of the cases that we're seeing. We're seeing extreme sexual assault cases, sexual abuse cases, physical abuse cases. The number of times that we have been called to come after hours to provide the services has actually tripled from last year in just 3-4 months. Typically, we get called about 5 times a year after hours. Since the pandemic started, we have been called to come and provide the service after hours 16 times already, which is unfortunately, but yes, the number of cases, like I said, have remained constant, a little bit of a decrease, but the severity of the cases has been, something that we don't want to see. But I'm just so fortunate that the Children's Advocacy Center is there to provide those services to these children that have been abused.
How can we help with the healing process?
I think as a community, one of the things that first and foremost we can do right now is report child abuse. Teachers are the #1 reporters in the state of Texas, and right now with children being out of school, it's almost like we lost part of our front line. And so all of us as a community, we need to make sure that we report child abuse. And how do we do that is just by noticing some of the signs. You may see your neighbor that or the child that all of a sudden their appearance change, their hygiene has changed, or you notice something is off from that particular child, even from their demeanor. And so as a community, we need to make sure that we report it. In Texas, we can report child abuse by calling the Texas Abuse Hotline, which is 1-800-252-5400. And I think right now that is how the community can help. There is indicators right now, the severity of the cases that I was explaining earlier, that there's a store coming of child abuse cases once children go back into the whether it's distance learning or going into the school certain days. We're gonna see that once these children have a safe place to be or have an adult that they can trust, that they can tell the story, we're gonna see the number of cases increase. So it is very important that as we notice the differences that we report it, and so I will say that's the #1 thing that the community can do to help us. I think I do want the community to know that we are right now preparing ourselves for the tsunami of child abuse cases, and we will be there to provide that service to the children and families that need our services.
The important thing, as you mentioned, is to come together as a community and break the silence, to not remain silent. And report it, as you mentioned. Thank you for offering that hotline number. We're going to have it on the screen. And thank you for the work that you do to help protect our children here in the Valley and break this horrible cycle, Mr. Sanchez. We thank you for the work that you do.
No, thank you very much. It's a great responsibility to provide the services to these children, and we take that responsibility very seriously. I just cannot imagine not being here for them, especially during this time of the pandemic. We're doing everything possible to remain open, including having all the safety measures that are recommended to be in place so that we continue to be there for the families. If we're not there for them, unfortunately, if you don't address child abuse right away, it can develop into other symptoms. They could be either health-wise, it could be in the way they interact with relationships, with significant others in the future. So it's, we have a great responsibility to be there for them, and we're ready. Every day we come ready to provide that service and provide that support.
Well, we appreciate the work that you do, and we hope that those watching will be inspired to continue with the mission that the Children's Advocacy Center stands for. And thank you again so much. We wish you and all the members of the Children's Advocacy Center all the best in this trying time. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and we're always thankful of having a platform to talk about such a taboo topic. And the only way we can make a difference is by continuing to talk about sexual abuse and extreme physical abuse. And I think having us in this platform has been a great step for the community in the right direction.
Thank you again, Mr. Sanchez, for your time.
Thank you.
When we come back, a refreshing drink from our friends from the Republic of the Rio Grande. Don't go away.
In McAllen ISD, students are engaged in viable and enriching lessons thanks to a seamless transition to distance learning. We have the tools and know-how to maintain your child's education at a high level of rigor. Register today. Call 687-6473.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Brandon Martin with Republic of the Rio Grande. Today we're going to be making a classic cocktail. We won first place from the McAllen Chamber of Commerce. It's called Passiflora Mexicana, which literally translates to passion flower. So we're gonna do step-by-step cocktail for you. It's gonna be a build, so you don't have to do it over ice if you don't want to. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna incorporate a garnish first in your glass, a lemon wedge, just a little bit of zest on the glass. You wanna put an ounce of a young mezcal, like a Joven Mezcal Blanco. You're gonna incorporate that with 2 ounces of a reposado tequila. So you'll get the smokiness from the mezcal, you'll get the sweetness of the agave from the reposado tequila. After that, you want to use 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice, not lime, lemon. So your lemon juice is in. Then we're going to be following it with our hibiscus reduction. So essentially, we get dried hibiscus, put it with equal parts water and sugar, and let that simmer for about 20 minutes. And then you'll get this rich pigmentation from the hibiscus. Put that in like that. And then we want to follow this with fresh sandia. You just get a sandia seedless, put it in your blender, strain it, you'll be fine. And you want to give 3 ounces of that. So you're going to have this really rich pink, almost rose pigmentation to the cocktail. Once we have that, we're going to let it just sit for a quick second before we give it a shake. We're going to get our glass that we already zested with our lemon. We're gonna come behind that with some ice first. So once we have our ice, like I said right here, we're gonna come back and we're gonna do a quick mezcal zesting in it. So what we have in here is the mezcal, the whole mezcal that we had, and we actually put hibiscus in there and we let that infuse. You can do it 10 minutes, you can do it an hour, the longer the better. So you can give it a quick spritz, and as you see, you'll get that pink pigmentation on the ice, which is, it works wonders for, making cocktails at home, impressing the wife, friends. It just looks beautiful. Once that's all that's done, we're gonna come over here. You can stir it, you can shake it, whatever your preference would be. Just a quick, rigorous shake. Like I said, this is a build. You don't have to do it over ice because the ice would dilute it. And because the sandia, the watermelon, is so much water content, you don't want to incorporate too much water. And we're gonna go and finish it. And that's it. That's gonna be your drink right there. Enjoy.
Thank you, Sony, for having us here today. And Marta, we wish you were here. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers to you, Sally, and all our friends at the Republic of the Rio Grande. We also want to thank Pharr Mayor Ambrosio Hernandez for that thoughtful conversation. We'd like to thank Mr. Steve Ahlenius, the president of the McAllen Chamber of Commerce, for that uplifting message. We want to thank the Children's Advocacy Center for the wonderful work that they do, and Deutsch and Deutsch, especially you for allowing us into your life. And now we leave you with the art of socialifing.